Hey party people, what is up? It's Noelle with Baker's Backyard Bounty, and today we are doing some work. So over here is the side of our house by the driveway. And we have really tried to establish like a cottage garden in this little bed over here. Put a bird bath, I planted hydrangeas, tried columbine, hollyhock. This is where our peonies grow. I'm trying to think what else, hellebore. So really like it's just a hodgepodge of stuff over here and hasn't really had like a uniform aesthetic or like purpose really. So we decided that the bed was a little bit too small for us to really do anything meaningful with, and today we're extending it. So as you can see, this is something I've talked about in many videos, like how we start our garden beds. I've just collected some cardboard from recycle day around the neighborhood, and we took off all the tape. You don't want it to have any kind of like that plastic coating. So even like diaper boxes, we don't use those because they're coated in kind of like an advertisement around the whole box. So just like plain natural cardboard, because that plastic stuff won't break down. And this has been wetted down by the rain. We've had a couple of days of really good rain. We put some manure and compost on top, then we'll add topsoil and then a layer of mulch. And so this should be good to go in a few weeks, nice and broken down and soft. But what's gonna go over here, I will show you in just a second. So really what's going over here are a bunch of bulbs. You plant a lot of bulbs in the fall. If you go to Eden Brothers, I'm not like sponsored by them at all or anything like that. We've just ordered from them a lot and have had success with their plants. But on EdenBrothers.com, you can actually do a drop down and see, it'll have like categories of spring planted bulbs and fall planted bulbs so that you don't accidentally order something you didn't expect or have to wait till the spring to plant it. So this is just a tulip mixture. I think it has like reds, yellows, oranges, the classics in it. I've actually never grown tulips, but I was so envious of some people's yards this year that had tulips in early spring. They had such good color. This is a fragrant collection of Tulip Angelique, and they actually look like peonies to me. And so I'm really excited about these. And I think they'll look really pretty in a vase. Coming up, we are planting lilies this year. So I'm actually filming on the back of Reed's truck, and they made it into a clubhouse. Isn't that fun? So Lily is obviously excited we're growing lilies this year. At the farmer's market, we realized in early spring we were a little bit struggle busing to make sure we had enough, enough flowers in order to make full bouquets for that May market. And so we're doing lilies.
Here's Lily.
And here's my other Lily. Oh, you're my favorite Lily. Lily Diane is my favorite variety. It's So-So. Hey, So-So. You're pretty good too, sister.
And here's Lily.
And there's Lily again. Okay, so Lily varieties. These are called Forever Susan, and we got these at Lowe's. So nothing fancy or special. We were just there and picked them up. This is Purple Dream and Tribal Kiss. Wow, so exotic. So I went for jewel tone lilies rather than like pastel colors, just because that tends to be kind of my aesthetic at the market, is a lot of like greenery, green vases, jewel tone vases. I don't know, we're having a dog walking sister fight. So in the spirit of trying to start things or flowers specifically, for more of the early spring harvest, good thing you don't have any boogies in your nose. I'll show you what's going down in the garage under the grow lights. This is my super fancy seed starting operation. It's just a shelf I found on Facebook Marketplace, a metal shelf filled with all of our garagey things. And here's my car right here. So it's kind of close quarters, but I want to show you guys what I have started and hopefully can overwinter so that I get an early spring flower harvest. Okay, in here I'm growing 3 different kinds of stock. And I got them from Baker Creek, which is rareseeds.com. One is like an apricot color, one is a beautiful fuchsia, and then one is a mix. So they're actually just now starting to germinate, and I planted them probably like 3 days ago, 4 days. Back there, I'm hoping these germinate. Is that a little, yeah, there's a little seedling right there. That is actually lupine, and I've wanted to grow it for years and I've never had success. So I'm gonna try it this way of getting it started and overwintering. Next, these I actually up potted today. This is kind of what they looked like. There are 2 varieties of snapdragon, Madam Butterfly and Opus snapdragons. And again, these snapdragons aren't like what you get at the nursery where they're kind of short and stumpy. These are actually the ones grown for cut flowers. So they're the really tall, slender, prosperous, do well in full sun snapdragons. So I'm starting these in the almost winter, the fall, and those are up potted ones as well. Trying to give them more space and more nutrients, but hopefully those will overwinter beautifully also. You make a dirt angel?
I'm surprised you put your Dickies on for this.
I know, my cool overalls. You got a molting queen right here. Ugh, girl, you've looked better. Just saying. But we'll get through this, okay? It's just an awkward phase. So these right here were the baby chicks from Tractor Supply in my toddler gardening video. They have exploded. Get it? Egg exploded. They're not laying yet. I think that, oh gosh, can I get through? That one right there, I think that is a blue Wyandotte. We have some golden Wyandottes, and then these red suckers, red and white, are red stars. And our 2 old girls are buff Orpingtons. Our baby chicks truly did grow up so fast. Grow so fast. So we went ahead and integrated them into the big coop. We've had like error and success with integrating baby chicks. And luckily none of them have been like killed, but pecking order is a real thing. And so how we have done it the past 4 cycles that we have integrated new chickens is at night when all the ladies are asleep, we put the smaller chicks in. And I mean smaller, like they're pretty good size. Like we've kept them separated for long enough. And so the older chicks wake up to their new friends. And there is a little bit of pecking that goes back and forth, but we just monitor it and make sure like no one's in danger and heal any wounds that come up. But yeah, there is a transition period with the chickens where the older ones have to make their mark and the younger ones have to find their order. So that has been really smooth with this group, and it might be because we've had so many baby chicks. Like we had 8 this round. So instead of integrating 2 or 3, we integrated like a bigger group. So they had more sway at the school, you know, like the popular girls. I digress. So one thing that I try and come on periodically and remind people of is that I am not a gardening expert. And really, when you're making YouTube videos or any like kind of how-to or documenting your journey, it can feel a little bit like imposter syndrome of like, you know, like that stock that I started in the garage. I can't guarantee that I'm gonna be cutting that because human error, like things happen or we get a really hard freeze. And so sometimes I find that coming up within me of like, what do I have to share? What am I doing? I'm just a novice. But really, I think what my strength is that I'm determined. So if things die, I'm gonna try again, and I'm not afraid to give it a go. So perfection is not really my go-to. So I think that's helpful as being a gardener. And so just know that, like, just get started, right? Like action. If you don't put seeds in the ground, 100% fact, you will not harvest something. At least if you put some seeds in the ground, those chances are increased. So that's kind of like the mantra I live by with the garden. It's just like, try it, give it a try. This should look a little bit different. This is where we grew all our cut flowers, which when it's filled with flowers, it looks so full. And when they're gone, it looks so small. So what I'm doing this year, traditionally I have spaced out the flowers, like peppered in dahlias and peppered in zinnias, because I kind of like that wild hodgepodge look. But now being a flower farmer, trying to make bouquets and really monopolize the space I have, I'm going to divide it into sections. So this first section here has ranunculus bulbs and some poppy seeds. So poppies are something that you can overwinter. They have to get, I think it's called cold stratified. So the seed has to get cold enough. Some people do it in their refrigerator before they plant out in the spring, but you can also plant them in the winter for spring, early spring popping. Ranunculus is in. This is just pretty, so I'm leaving that little zinnia in. But I think I'm gonna do like gomphrena, celosia, zinnias, dahlias, like just divide it out into little sections, which doesn't make my artist heart as full. But again, I'm learning how to really work with, like, I don't have a ton of space. I don't have just like fields of wildflowers. So I gotta get a little more streamlined. And I'm always trying to hit that balance because I don't want the farmer's market bouquets to ever dictate like my joy for gardening. You know what I mean? Like, I want to keep it fun and creative while also making like practical decisions, read like decisions about the garden in order to, yeah, get the most bang for our buck back here. So the okra is now gone. I have, well, I had some Brussels sprouts and broccolis and cauliflowers here, but something came in the night and got underneath my tarp and ate them up. So, you know, we're just gonna keep going. So what I did is before the rain 2 days ago, I came out here and I put German chamomile, or excuse me, Zloty Land, I think is how you say it, chamomile seeds. I put out some Rocky Top lettuce mix from Baker Creek so we can have some greens because that stuff will grow fast. I planted some Chinese cabbage seeds here with some watermelon radishes, and then I have just a sprinkling of brassicas in here. So like some little broccolis, that's a Brussels sprout right there. And then this is a little cauliflower. So we'll just see what happens. They're honestly a little bit small at this point. This one's pretty well established, but I'm just gonna go for it. You know, let's see what we can get out of this. Reed harvested a bunch of basil from here last night. So we'll be making more pesto to freeze. And then also we're dehydrating a ton of it for Italian seasonings. This is Tomato Alley, which I told you guys if we just hung in there, they would start popping off. And there are, well, we've had a bunch of hornworms, like a ton of hornworms. When we got back from our vacation, we found them. But yeah, this thing is just full of tomatoes, and we're just gonna go for it. Like, let's see how many can ripen before we get a frost. These actually look pretty ripe. That's a blue boarberry. If you want a good cherry tomato, blue boarberry from Wild Boar Farms, I think, or seeds, Wild Boar seeds. They're all tomato seeds. This is a striped German plant, and that's also a really good heirloom red variety that's done well for us. Down here we have, these are some Brad's Atomic Grape tomatoes, which are yummy. We got some rando onions that I found in the garden. I actually chopped up all the onion greens that I found just rogue in the garden and dehydrated them, and they've been delicious on baked potatoes. I must say, I'm a baked potato fiend. I actually don't know what variety this is, but it's coming in hot. Got lots of little tomatoes growing. This is an evergreen. So down here, these are actually a green tomato because we love fried green tomatoes. I mean, come on now. On the other side of the aisle, like, see, this is what hornworm damage can look like. So you really got to stay on top of them because they eat it up quick. Like, look how sad that is. We just pick them off and feed them to the chickens. This is a Berry's Crazy Cherry. Like, as you can see, look at how many flowers it produces on one little stem. But they are a yellow cherry variety. I think that I have some, let me find it, Lucid Gems. I have not stayed on top of trellising, obviously. Like, look at that, the T-posts are falling in. However, we've done this before where we just kind of let it go in the fall and let them bramble and fall over. And we just kind of keep propping them up, and they actually produce really well. I think this is a Lucid Gem, so they're purple on top, yellow on the bottom. Yeah, I don't actually know what all these varieties are, but I hope we're going to be swimming in tomatoes by mid-November, end of November. So it's tempting to rip out those tomato plants, but here in North Texas, I don't know, I'm an advocate of keeping them in so you can get one last pop. That's just me. With this bed though, see, this is the trick of gardening. A lot of it is timing. So you gotta always think about, like, okay, will I be able to harvest these tomatoes? Will they be able to ripen in time? Because I have garlic that I need to be getting in, which I can get garlic in like November, mid-November, into November, to harvest for the next June. So we're gonna be putting our garlic in this bed. So I'm gonna give it a shot. We got time. But if I had no space and I needed to get some brassicas in, like cauliflowers, broccolis, cabbages, things like that, I would for sure take these out because I have a higher chance of harvesting brassicas versus tomatoes. So it's all kind of like a give and take, especially when you're low on space. Down here in this last garden bed, and I cover everything at night and uncover it in the morning, which is kind of, you know, it's labor, but I just can't risk losing my fall garden. So these again are kind of small for this time of the year, but we're just gonna go for it. So these are actually purple cauliflower. It's an Italian, can't remember what the exact name of it is, but it's a beautiful, vibrant purple cauliflower. Down there I have some broccolis, some kohlrabi. I've never grown kohlrabi before. Our jalapeno, our peppers have just taken off, but this one will come out soon enough. I've been making jars of pickled jalapenos for Reedy. Down here, these are our Brussels sprouts, and they're actually doing really, really well. We went ahead and took off some of the lower leaves. You actually get bigger Brussels sprouts. If you don't know Brussels sprouts, they grow up the stem or off of the stem. And so if you prune the leaves off, the buds, the little Brussels sprouts get bigger. And this is arugula we've just been eating the heck out of in our salads. It's got a little bit of a spice, a little bit of a kick to it. So we pair it with like a honey lemon vinaigrette, and it's just like bomb diggity. Our blackberry bush right over here has exploded, and with the, like, look at it, it's like coming out. With the rain, it got so heavy, it kind of pulled the trellis away from the wall. So I've really got to get in here and like prune this sucker, get it all situated so that it's not just so heavy. The mint has exploded. People say don't put mint in the ground because it's invasive, but we like mint. I use it as a filler for my flowers, and then also we harvest a bunch of it and we're going to dehydrate it because we love mint tea. So for us, it worked well to put in the ground. So my last video was about the straw bales and the snake situation, which I've still been finding some snakes, which is really fun and cool. Lily was really scared, so I like had her come out and like check it out with me. We got a stick and picked it up, and she's still not sold, which is fine. I just wanted to love nature. So this is the side of our house. It goes pretty far down, and this is like our OG gardening space. So Reed lived here before I did and made this into a little garden, and he grew tomatoes and things like that. So it's like soulmates meant to be. He's always been a farmer. But what we have done over here is actually dismantled all of those straw bales and laid it out for like some mulch, essentially. We have planted about 6 rows of carrots, which carrot seeds have to stay really wet in order to germinate. So oftentimes you can cover them with like a wooden board or cardboard or a tarp, just something to keep the soil moist, because honestly carrot seeds are so small they don't go down deep, so they dry out really easily and won't germinate. So we have 6 rows of carrots, which I planted these not that long ago, so they actually haven't sprouted yet. I've seen like a couple coming up, but nothing substantial. So let me take you on further down here. So what I have over here are some collards. So I have Morris heading collards. I've got some blue collards. I'm trying to think of what those are called. The blue variety. Can't remember. And then I have some Creole collards. So like 3 different varieties of collard greens, which we love. So those are getting established. And then also down here, what are the blue collards named? I'm gonna have to let y'all know. Down here, I have my cabbages. So I have 2 varieties. These were started in my garage. And so like they're a pretty substantial size. Let me show you real quick. So again, like I'd love everything to be a little further along, but I did start my seeds a little late. I think I started them, gosh, September, and you can start them as early as July, July, August. But anyways, this is Morris heading collard, or excuse me, Morris heading cabbage down here. I got these going, and then I also have something like Verona something cabbages, which are like a beautiful Italian purple variety. So those are getting nice and established. Oh my gosh, Lily was helping me back here the other night, and she was standing against the fence, and this cute little neighbor's puppy stuck its head through and licked her. It was so precious. Hey, Bubba's. Lily thinks it's like the most hilarious story. We have to tell everybody about the dogs coming through the fence. So I love toddler brains. Everything is magic. So really for the next few, oh, beautiful butterfly. Try to see if I can get it. Where are you? In our pollinator garden. She's running away. So really for the next couple of weeks, like our first frost date, which is an estimate, is I think November 15th. So I'm just really going gung-ho until then. Next couple weeks we'll be planting our bulbs in the side garden. We'll be getting our garlic in. Trying to think. I'm gonna keep sowing lettuces and greens, things that germinate really quickly. I'm covering everything at night. I'm covering it in the morning just to keep it away from critters, really. We're gonna be harvesting some tomatoes that blew over with that rainstorm for fried green tomatoes this week, which will be really yummy. And trying to think of what else. What other garden things could you do? Dill and cilantro are cool weather herbs. They do really well with cool weather. I love to grow dill in the fall and then harvest it and dehydrate it so that I can make pickles and relishes and things like that in the summer with, you know, the cucumbers and okra and things like that. So dill is my favorite herb of all time. But yeah, that's really what we got going here. So what was interesting is I heard, or I was reading some kind of garden blog, and the author mentioned that in Texas, with the heat that we've been having, actually the summer is our dormant season instead of the fall and winter. And that really was like transformative for my mindset, because it made me realize like, oh my gosh, there's so much gardening potential that is right here in front of me in this season in October. And also it made me feel like less of a lame gardener, because I had so much trouble growing peppers and tomatoes and squash and things like that this summer just because it was so dang hot. It was almost like everything just halted. So that was kind of true. That's our dormant season. And I'm just so grateful that we do have such a long growing season so I can try out all these experiments. Daddy doing work. So look how smooth. See, you make a dirt angel.
I'm surprised you put your dickies on for this.
I know, my cool overalls. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you got inspired. Now you know what we're up to here in this beautiful fall weather today here at Baker's Backyard Bounty. May you find the bounty in your own life and all the beauty that it holds. Let me know what you're doing this fall to get ready for the garden, and we'll see you soon.